Hi and very welcome to Studio DSM, a cooperation between Donsö Shipping Meet and the Swedish shipping magazine Sjöfartstidningen. My name is Adam Bergman. With me here right now I have Mika Anttonen, chairman of the board at St1. Welcome to Studio DSM.
Thank you very much.
In short, what is St1?
St1 is originally a trading company. We expand our activity to the retail activity. Nowadays in our market area, Nordic, Sweden, Norway, Finland, we are largest fuel retailer. On top of that, we are making our vision and mission possible by oil business, and our vision is to be a CO2 aware energy producer and seller. Means that we are making electricity out of wind, we are making fuels out of waste or side products, and we are making heat geothermal way.
Perfect. I know that you later on here today are going to speak about the global energy system. So could you explain to me what challenges does the global energy system face right now?
We have a couple of big bottlenecks in our global energy system, what we don't realize how difficult they are to tackle. The first one is something what we have talked quite a lot, it's electricity storage. So we can produce already today very economically viable way, we can produce enough electricity for the whole consumption of the whole globe. But we cannot distribute it and we cannot consume it, because if it's come from sun with solar power panels, it's in wrong place and the wrong time.
Yeah.
And for that purpose we need desperately solutions to be able to store that energy. And that is the big bottleneck. The other one is something what you maybe haven't heard too much before, it's crude oil distillation curve. Mm-hmm. So we do have a crude oil where we are producing many different type of oil products what we are using daily basis. Mm-hmm. And nobody can use crude oil. We have to put crude oil to the distillation tower and then we are getting the products. And we have to find substitution to each and every product before we are getting consumption of crude oil down. Mm-hmm. As long as you would like to fly, it doesn't help if you don't thrive. Yeah. You anyway have to produce all that crude oil to have enough materials which are working in 10 kilometers high. And those are the big bottlenecks what we do have in the energy system, and we quite often make that mistake that we start to look at emission in one individual area, like Sweden or Scandinavia or EU. Rather we should look at the whole global system and see that where these fossil molecules will end up if like we don't use it. If we don't use it here in Scandinavia, for example, it's quite easy to stop to use fossil fuels here. But if our fossil fuels, what we are using, ends up to the Africa and they are using it there, really nothing happens.
No. How far are we from a reasonable solution?
I don't know. That's the fantastic thing about it, that I think you shouldn't be too pessimistic. You should be optimistic that we can find solutions. But why we should talk about it, that we don't have a solution today, that is very important, that we keep pushing money enough to the research and developing work. Yeah. And now quite many people are saying that we do have already all the technology and all the solutions. That's not true. With existing technologies and solutions, we are not getting to the path which we have agreed in Paris Agreement. And that's why we should keep talking about these issues and have a policy where we make sure that companies, governments, all society, all of us will do enough to get CO2 in atmosphere down.
Yeah. What implications will it have if this is not solved?
We don't know, and we shouldn't think too much about these pessimistic scenarios and world is going to change in a way that we cannot anymore live here. Nobody is getting inspiration out of that. We should think about positively that it is something what we can solve and we will solve the problem, and then start to address it piece by piece. We cannot solve it. There is no silver bullet.
No.
We have to do many things simultaneously, and to have a global energy system and model it, then we start to do right things at right time. And that's why we have to talk about it. For example, our consumption habits, we don't talk too much about. I can tell you example when I was in EU a couple of years ago, and we talked about what kind of cars car manufacturers should produce in the future. The electricity cars were of course on top of the list. And I said, why don't we request the car manufacturers to produce such a kind of cars which can only drive the maximum speed limit?
Yeah.
Everybody were watching that. This guy must be crazy, what is he talking about? And if you think about that, if the car can drive only 120 kilometers per hour, its material what we are using to manufacture a car is 50% less, consumption of the fuel 50% less, much less traffic accident, roads are keeping a much better shape, much more little these emissions, local emissions. So all the positive things will happen if we just make the cars which can only drive 120 kilometers per hour. But why don't we do that?
Yeah, people have to rethink everything.
No,
maybe.
but because kind of like you and me, we feel so fantastic when we can push the gas, and it will go in 5 seconds from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour. So,
but it's not a necessity.
Yeah, exactly. That's not necessity at all. And who would buy the Audi from a German car manufacturer if the top speed is 120 kilometers per hour? Who would pay for it 50,000 euro? Nobody.
No.
So we are coming to our own habits as well. There are many things like that I'm going to talk about later on. But
in what way could we are here at DSM and we talk about shipping. In what way does shipping need to change?
I think shipping has shown a pretty good example how can shipping change. I think there are already very promising processes going on. LNG is coming to the picture. Small engine side, there has been a lot of development work. Also, the shape of the boats has changed, taking energy consumption into account. And IMO has made this decision that they will jump from the heavy fuel oil to the diesel 2020. So there is quite many development paths.
Are they on the right path?
That remains to be seen.
Yeah.
It's not. I cannot say that 100% right. There are definitely some things which we could do in shipping side as well differently, and we have to analyze which one of those roads are the best one to really have the best impact, because shipping is part of that global energy system. And if you are doing one thing there, it has impact to other metals as well. So it might well be that if we are not getting rid of the fuel oil totally, that we should use some part of the fuel oil in shipping, and it's still best thing to do.
Yeah.
Because if the fuel oil ends up to the Africa and they are producing electricity, and there is no filters and no cleaning scrubbers or systems, might be the case that it's not the best thing.
In what way does St1 participate in the future?
Oh, our case is very simple. We try to make maximum money on the oil business, and we invest all that money to develop the renewable energy solutions.
Interesting, and we look forward to see what you have to do.
Thanks.
Thank you very much. And for all of you who want to read more about DSM and see more videos, visit www.sjöfartstidningen.se for more videos and news about DSM. Thank you, and see you later.